A bridging company trusted me with over £500,000 at 22. Funnily enough, it's actually not that hard to do, so I'm going to break it down so you can go and do it too. That actually rhymed, that I didn't even mean it. Ignore the lopsided writing as well. I'm going to make it straight as we go on. The first thing that we're going to get into is what actually is a bridging loan. It works in a similar way to mortgages, but it's more specialist form of lending, whereby, let's say you've got a project and you need to, do some type of renovation work, or you don't intend on keeping the property for a long period of time. This is what you'd look to take out, as opposed to a mortgage, which is a more permanent, longer term form of lending. And this is how I've actually been able to buy and develop the properties that you guys would have seen me document on social media. Pretty much anyone within reason can get a bridging loan. Now that I've explained to you guys what a bridging loan actually is, I'm going to add a little bit of a personal touch and explain to you how I managed to actually get over £500,000 worth of this form of lending for my most recent projects. So the first point being where I got the loan, which I just told you guys was via my broker. Now, a lot of people, would naturally think that you want to cut out the middleman and go directly to a lender, but most of the times I wouldn't actually advise this. By cutting out the middleman or the broker, so to speak, you might be able to save on, certain fees, like the fee that you pay to the broker and the arrangement fee. But where you will put yourself at a disadvantage is a lot of the times the broker tends to have a very close relationship with certain lenders, and they're able to find out certain things that may be limiting your access to certain loan terms. Or in my case, when I bought these most recent properties, there was an instance where the lenders were about to pull out because we didn't complete by a certain date, but because of the relationship that my broker had with the bridging lender, she was able to extend this grace period by an extra 2 weeks. So it's not always good to cut out the person involved. And ultimately, to answer this question, I would just say work with a rock solid broker. Most of you, might be confused, thinking, I don't have any properties, or I don't have established credit. How on earth am I going to get approved for a bridging loan? I don't know the exact criteria that you need to hit in order to be approved for a bridging loan, but I can tell you for certain that you don't need any type of established perfect credit. Number one, because I didn't have it. And number two, you don't actually need to be in any type of full employment. Now, remember at the start I said that bridging lenders are very different to mortgage lenders. When you're applying for a mortgage, they're a lot more strict. They have a very stringent application process almost. Now with bridging lenders, it's very similar in terms of, you'd have to submit all of your details. Typically it's to your broker if you're working with the people that you're meant to. And by being open and honest with your broker about your situation, where you're at in life, your employment status, any potential CCJs on your record. Listen, especially you guys that don't like to pay your parking fines, it might have come to bite you in the ass. The good thing is if you're just open and honest with your broker, they'll be able to explore all of the potential options that are available to you. With a bridging loan, typically they roll up all of their fees and deduct it from the total amount that they give you, which means they're not really concerned if you're unemployed or if you're an investment banker that earns 500 grand a year, because they pay themselves from day one. And as long as the exit strategy for the project that you're looking to do is clear, they will give you the bridging loan. So in a nutshell, to answer this question, you just have to be open and honest with your broker or the bridging lender about your situation, employment status, income levels, credit history, etc. And then they'll work alongside you to give you pretty much the product that you need. What does the loan term on a bridging loan look like? Now, every single bridging loan I've taken out has been taken out on a 12-month term. Why do you take it out for 12 months if your projects are only going to take, 4 months, 5 months? And that's a good question. One of the things that you need to be very much aware of before you take out a bridging loan is that the fees are absolutely astronomical. Let's say I was doing a development project and I expected it to only take 3 or 4 months. Regardless, I would still take the bridging loan out for at least 12 months, because if that project were to overrun and I'd only taken the bridging loan out for even 6 months, for example, and I've overrun on the 6 months, I would now need to apply to extend the bridging loan, and typically they charge a fee. I remember on my first ever one, I was quoted a fee of 5% of the total loan to extend the bridging loan. So imagine a loan of £100,000. Just to extend it, you'd have to pay 5%. So that's £5,000 just to extend it. And then each and every month, sometimes they'll put you onto a default rate, or they'll just, give you a slightly higher rate, which is roundabout rule of thumb 1% per month. So imagine extending £5,000 and then each and every month having to come out of pocket an extra £1,000 as a result of you not, taking it out for longer than you need. If you expect a project to take 6 months, still take out for 12 months. If you expect a project to take 10 months, take it out for even like 18 months. You just don't want to be in a position where you're forced to extend a bridging loan. So now that I've given you guys a fundamental understanding of how bridging loans work, what they are, how you use them, the fees that are involved, I'm going to talk you through what I would do if I went back in time and I was looking at purchasing my first property again. I'm not going to bother writing profitable or good because, if something's a deal, then it must stack. Right? Whether it's looking on Rightmove, other things like Property Engine or whatever, direct to vendor, however you find that deal, just find one. I'm not going to cover, how to work out end values and stuff in this video. We're just strictly talking about bridging loans. So let's just assume, you've run your numbers and it stacks. And now you're looking at, getting a bridging loan. The second thing I would do is figure out how much cash I need and how much money I can get from a bridging lender. Bridging lenders typically will give you 75% of the purchase price for your property deal. They can lend you either up to, I believe it's 65% of the GDV, so the gross development value, or 85% loan to cost. Whichever of the two is lesser, that's the amount that they'll give you. And that's how they worked it out for the 2 HMO conversions that I'm doing. So one amounted to a total of like 280,000 and the other amounted to, I believe it was just under 270,000, which is, well in excess of the £500,000 that I mentioned at the start of this video. In an ordinary case, it's 75% of the purchase price. Don't think that, okay, if they're giving me 75% of the purchase, all I need is 25%. Logically, that would make sense, but that's wrong. Remember when I told you guys that they take all of their fees from day one. So you can imagine in an instance of a £100,000 loan, 1% per month for 12 months is 12 grand. You've also got to factor in the arrangement fee that they typically give to the introducer. In this case, it would be the broker that you work alongside with, which is around about 2%. And there's usually another 1% of fees here and there. So you've got another 12% that you need to account for, and then an extra 3%. So together, once you factor in the fees that they take up front, you need to account for the extra 15%, because they don't actually give you the full 75%. It ends up working around to like 60%, and the deposit you end up needing ends up being around 40%. This is rule of thumb, guys. Like, it's not 100% concrete, but understanding this will put you in a very good position to understand how much cash you will need for whatever property deal that you're looking to do. Cool. So we've covered step number one. You found yourself a deal. Step number two, you've figured out how much money you need cash wise to take on this deal. Now the third step is getting in touch and working alongside a broker, right? Don't try and cut out the middleman. Trust me, it's not worth it. Just get in touch with a broker. If you need one, literally let me know. Join the community and I'll give you access to my full power team. Anything you need, you can crack on with. But get yourself a good broker. They will help you start to piece all of the different puzzles together and start to make this an actual reality for you. And then last but definitely not least is just secure the house. Literally buy it. Buy that property. So it's a 4-step process: finding the deal, running your numbers, understanding how much cash you need, getting the cash, getting in touch with a broker to put all of these different things together, put your deal together essentially, and present your case to the most suitable lender. And then it's just a matter of buying the house. And that is how you, ladies and gents, can get your hands on hundreds of thousands of pounds, just like I did with my first ever property and just like how I did with my most recent ones. So I hope you found this informative. If you do need help with stuff like this, go in the link below. There'll be a go in the description below, guys. You see, like, my brain is even frazzled because of all of this explaining, but head in the description. There'll be a link down there for you guys that you can follow along and, you know, just get more information if you need it. But other than that, keep enjoying the content, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for my next video. In fact, before I even go, guys, let me know what you want to see in the coming weeks. I've got ideas in my mind of, you know, the different things that you need to know to secure your first property. But let me know down below in the comments what you'd like to see, and make sure you stick around to see how it all unfolds and me just making it happen.